The cheapest hybrid cars in Australia right now are the Suzuki Swift, the Toyota Yaris, the Chery Tiggo 4, MG3 and the MG Two of them are Japanese, and the same two are also the most pathetic, slow-poke hybrids on the market. Swift is the cheapest, starting at 25 grand, but it has the worst overtaking ability here. It requires a yawn-inducing 13 seconds to reach 100 kph. The Toyota Yaris is $4,000 dearer, but a couple of seconds quicker than the Swift. It is still no match for the Chinese options that are now available in the market though. The MG3 is the best. It has impressive overtaking ability, given that it is 5 seconds quicker from 0 to 100 compared to the Swift hybrid. The funny thing here is that the MG3 hybrid is also quicker than the Swift Sport by 0.4 of a second. So now we can start calling Japanese hot hatches pathetic, just like their hybrid counterparts. The little MG is propelled by a 208 horsepower powertrain after all. You still might not like the MG3, simply because of it being a hatchback of course. For you, MG also sells a crossover SUV with the same powertrain, called the ZS Hybrid Plus. It is 4 grand more expensive than the hatchback, and also half a second slower to 100 kph. But both of those compromises are not a deal breaker because it still remains the best of the rest when it comes to cheapest hybrids in Australia. The fifth and the latest hybrid to join the cheapest end of the market is Chery's Tiggo 4. It is half a second slower than the MG ZS, but also $1,000 cheaper at just under 30 grand. However, even the Chery still has better overtaking prowess compared to Toyota's best-selling Corolla and Yaris cross hybrids. Not to forget, it is cheaper than them by a couple of grand. However, bear in mind that none of these hybrids are quicker than a Polo GTI yet. If you want a hybrid which effortlessly decimates the Polo GTI and even the Golf GTI, get the Haval H6's Ultra Hybrid all-wheel drive variant. It retails for 46 grand, but accelerates from 0 to 100 in 4.8 seconds. Beyond that, you always have the used alternatives, especially if you are a smart guy who thinks that spending more than $35,000 on any car is a stupid idea. You are absolutely right. Because today, a Tesla Model 3 Performance is available for a mouth-watering 35 grand in the used car market. But that's not all. A 2-year-old MG4 X-Power is also available for the same price. It will be a tad bit slower than the Model 3 Performance in terms of acceleration. But the Tesla that you will find at this price will at least be 5 years old. Plus, it will have at least 150,000 kilometers on the odometer, while the X-Power can be found with just 40,000 kilometers on the clock. Now coming to the question of whether any petrol-powered alternatives can be found with similar performance in the used car market, then the answer is no. However, something slightly slower can certainly be found. The German hot hatches, namely the Toyota Yaris 3, Mercedes I-Class and the BMW 1 Series, all had their flagship versions capable of pulling a sub-5-second sprint to 100 kph some 10 years ago. Now, they are all available for less than 20 grand, except for the Toyota Yaris 3. But then, the Volkswagen Group can be forgiven for it as their Golf R takes its place on the roster. Our favorites are the Beamers. The M135i is available for as low as $16,000 with a delicious inline-6 turbo petrol mated to the ZF8 speed automatic and rear-wheel drive. To be honest, it doesn't make any sense to shell out an extra 20 grand for the EVs up there. If you want an even better driving experience, then you can get the 2 Series with the limited slip differential. It is about 8 grand more expensive, but is beyond doubt the most effervescent alternative among this bunch. If you want something with all-wheel drive, you have 2 choices: the Mercedes i45 AMG or the Golf R. The Golf R has a more livable and yet also the more entertaining suspension setup, while the Merc is objectively more capable. If you insist on X-Power equaling acceleration, then the option of a Stage 1 Ray map also exists. For example, the Golf R, with a reliable Stage 1 Ray map from Revo, can crack the ton in 4 seconds flat. Not bad for a car that is available for 17 grand, right? If you insist on a brand new vehicle in this price range, then the i20N is your best option. It is painfully slow compared to the used options though. Plus, it is only available with a manual gearbox. If you want an automatic, then the Swift Sport is your best bet. Else, you can stretch your budget to 41 grand and go for a Polo GTI. Can't really imagine who in their right minds would go for such slow and expensive front-wheel drive appliances. Especially when those entertaining Beamers are thankfully still available for those who know where to find them.